one of the articles, I talk about a conversation I had with Nir Eyal, and he is one of he's a best-selling author of Hooked,
Oh,
and somebody who is really active in the product and marketing space. And he said, Lisa, former smokers, if they call themselves a former smoker, they are much more likely to relapse into smoking than people who call themselves, let's say, a health nut or an athlete, right? Who used to smoke before. And so let me ask you, why do you think that would be, Ashwarya?
I mean, you're more recognizing what you are. Like it's like you take self-awareness to understand who you are than who you pretend to be.
Yeah, it has to do yeah, you're on the right track. It has to do with the concept of identity. So when we move from one type of work to another, oftentimes we're focused on changing behavior. Oh,
Mm.
I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or I was a product manager, or I'm going to switch industries. I'm going to go from this to that, or I'm going to switch functions. It's really, really hard to change behavior without changing your identity.
Yeah.
And so, a really good tool, useful tool, is to understand the identity that you're stepping into
Mm.
and find inspiring role models for that identity and really try to channel them and embody them by asking the question of what would this person do? What would they think about? What types of questions would they ask? Um, how would they approach this? You know, what are they likely to attempt next? So it keeps you in the action, but it keeps you from trying to overthink every single thing that you do. Because the beautiful thing about an identity is that it comes packaged with all of these things that we naturally understand, right? So, for example, I'll show you one of my identities that I step in before I speak, and it is Oprah. So,
Mm.
I have acquired on eBay this lanyard. It is a actual it's a VIP pass for an event, very small intimate event with her. Uh
Mhm.
and this person who wore it actually met her and talked to her. I did try to find, a pair of shoes or something that she owned, but I wasn't able to find an auction like that. So this was the best I could do. So before I get on any event or before I present or before I talk, I put this on, and I step into Oprah's shoes. I step into her identity. Like, what would she care about? How would she approach things? It's not just
Mm.
about being a good speaker. It's about caring for your audience, asking
Mm.
good questions. And when I feel that identity, I don't have to think about every single thing that I'm going to do. It comes much more naturally. So my story about becoming or stepping into an identity of an entrepreneur actually had me go through a very awkward imposter like moment at the airport in Sydney, Australia, when I was transiting with my stepdaughter on our way back to the US. I got stopped by a customs agent, and the first thing she asked me is, "What is your occupation?" At the time, I was adventuring. I was quote unquote unemployed. I was dabbling in things, but I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur. And so
Mm.
when she asked me that, I had to make a quick decision. Am I going to sit here and explain that I'm unemployed? I mean, she doesn't really care. All I have to say something, and she let me go to my flight. So I said, I'm an entrepreneur. And that felt so foreign and so unnatural. It was like trying on a dress for the first time. And I spent the rest of the Trans Pacific flight thinking about it. And then when I landed in the US, I was much more clear about like, okay, well, if I told a government official I was an entrepreneur, maybe I could step into that identity and start thinking about like, how would an entrepreneur think about things? What
Mm.
questions would they ask? What type of resourcefulness would they attempt? So that is kind of what I leveraged from my experience. But honestly, it was hard. It was hard. Any
It is.
transition is difficult. You have to step outside of your comfort zone and step into a new new role, it's going to be hard. And so use everything you can to
Mhm.
get yourself comfortable with that as quickly as possible.